Hey, howdy, hey, how is everybody doing? And welcome back to Disney Daily. So, today I am going to do a live spoiler free review of Pixar's newest film, Turning Red. So, I'm not going to look at the chat just yet. I'm going to get to the chat a little bit later. I'll open it up for you guys to share your spoiler free review. But I kind of just wanted to get online and talk about some things I really enjoyed in the film and some things that maybe I didn't particularly enjoy without spoiling it for all of you who have not seen it. And maybe you're contemplating whether or not you want to see it, and hopefully, my review will push you one way or the other. So, just kind of going down the line of some of the things that I really enjoyed. I'm going to keep it really general. I'm not going to get into any specifics. Don't want to spoil anything for you. And just as a reminder, you can catch this movie right now if you have a Disney Plus account. You can stream it for free, no additional charge right now. Um, Overall, this movie was really, really good. It was fun. It almost didn't feel like Pixar, which sounds kind of crazy because all Pixar films are great, right? Like every Pixar film is amazing. But it didn't feel like Pixar, but it was still good. It was good in its own way. And you'll see what I mean once you see it. It just didn't quite feel like Pixar, or it felt maybe outside of the box for Pixar a little bit. And they've done that a couple of times. It's not that they haven't done that, but this was a very interesting movie. In terms of the animation, I really thought the animation style was fantastic. That actually is probably my favorite part of the whole entire film, was just the way that they made the characters. I feel as though Pixar has taken this approach of making the characters in other films a little bit more realistic. For instance, I use this as an example. Joe Gardner, he looked very realistic, what an actual human being would look like. Another good example would be like Riley in Inside Out. But this movie, the way they approached animating the people in the film was a little bit more, cartoon, was a little bit more exaggerated, over the top. And I loved it. I loved it so much. I really enjoy when they mix it up and it's not the same thing that we're getting every single time in a film. The just It was beautiful. Different um the different shots of just the backgrounds were so beautiful. The attention to detail, it almost kind of reminded me of a painting, like a watercolored painting. It was very much on like the cool earthy tone side in terms of like color scheme, and it was just visually a very stunning movie. You can tell that a lot of work went into this. I mean, not that any of the other films don't have a ton of work going into it, but you could just tell the attention to detail was insane. So, animation, the way it looked overall, I mean, 10 out of 10 for me. And I really appreciate stuff like that. I know some people, I mean, it kind of, it's not their thing, or it just kind of goes over their head. But for me, I really do pay attention to the backgrounds, and the little tiny details that maybe not everyone else pays attention to. I actually went back and I paused it a couple of times throughout the film to like look in the background and just really appreciate all of the work that went into it. Um, because animation is no easy task. And I actually picked up a bigger appreciation for animation after I watched Into the Unknown, the making of Frozen 2. That really made me appreciate animation that much more. And it makes me want to stop, go back, and not listen to the dialogue of the characters necessarily, but pay attention to the backgrounds, or just the characters' movements or their clothing. The next thing that I want to touch on, again, keeping this very spoiler free, is the music. I really, enjoyed the music. Obviously, we know the time period. It's no, shock that it is taking place in the early 2000s. And everybody knows the early 2000s were really about the boy bands, the pop music. And I love that they zoned in on that. And that's the time frame in which they set this movie. I think it's great. It really resonated with me personally because I grew up during that time. And NSYNC was one of my favorite bands, so I really related to, the overall the character's excitement about the boy band. Again, keeping it very spoiler free, but you can get that from the trailers that they are very, very excited about a boy band, and I can relate to that. I thought that the soundtrack fell a little short. In my opinion, I didn't feel like there were as many catchy songs when you think of, boy bands or pop music or whatever, or that time frame in general. You think of very catchy songs that are always on the radio. Every song on the album was like a bop. It was a hit. And I just felt like that fell a little bit short. I'm going to obviously go, on my YouTube music later on today, and I'll download the soundtrack and listen to the whole thing because they might have left some songs out. There might be some little bonus songs, but for me personally, I felt like the soundtrack fell a little short. It was good, don't get me wrong, like, it was good, but I felt like there could have been more, especially when it comes to that type of music and just, as I said, hit after hit, bop after bop. I felt like they could have done more with that, in my opinion. In terms of the characters, I loved each and every one of the characters. I think they did a really good job of showing multiple personalities. Even just in her friend group, there are a lot of different personalities. I love that ethnically they're all very different from each other. I love that. I love seeing the representation. Um, I love that they have different body types. That's something that I really, really enjoy about just Disney films in general. They're being more inclusive about different body types. We all don't look the same. So I love that each of the characters looks very different from one another. Um, I resonated with some of the characters more so than I did others. But that's with any film. You're going to have characters that you feel more of a pull towards than you do others. Like when Encanto came out, I felt more of a pull towards Mirabel than I did any of the other characters. I still liked the other characters, but she was the one that I found I resonated with the most. I actually like that there's not too many characters in this. There's, a set 6 or 7 that are like the main characters, and I think, or, main character, but then the supporting characters, and you don't have to divide your attention too much. I think they did a really good job of keeping it, a small cast. And that's kind of what I'm going to say about the characters. In terms of the plot, I'm gonna try my bet. This is like, I really got to be careful with this. So, if you, just don't want to hear anything, I would log off now. I'm gonna keep it spoiler free, but who knows? Everyone's spoiler free is a little bit different. In terms of the plot, I thought it was really predictable. So I think that's my biggest critique with it is that it was very predictable. It wasn't anything that I didn't see coming. There were aspects of it, like getting to the final resolution, if you will, that I didn't see coming. But overall, I mean, it was something that I predicted in my reaction to the trailer video. So in terms of that, yeah, it was like one of those where I was like, yeah, I already knew that was going to happen. And I felt that way about Luca before Luca came out as well. I kind of already knew where that film was going to go. Um, and I think this is just something in general that maybe the animated movies are doing more so recently is it's very predictable, and I don't like that. I like, you know, a movie just kind of flipping everything on its head and not knowing what's going to happen. And for me personally, I'm not speaking for everyone, but for me personally, Turning Red was very predictable. And that's the that's like the biggest word I can use, the biggest word, the best word I can use is it was just that. It was simply that. Um in terms of the overall message, again, I'm going to try my best to keep this very spoiler free. Um Obviously you can get this from the trailer. They're poking fun at, or not even poking fun at, but Well, I know, yeah, poking fun at, kids going through puberty, going through that period in which you're changing, your body's changing. Um, so there's very much a message about, being okay with that and it happens to everyone. And so you definitely get that. I think to keep it again, I'm trying my best to keep it very spoiler free. Um, there's a very beautiful, bigger message of, I think women specifically being told how they should look or how they should behave, how they should dress, these expectations on, especially a little girl growing up and how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be proper, you're supposed to be ladylike, you have to like, when you sit, you have to cross your legs. Like, I just think, and I'm speaking as a woman, obviously, you grow up and there are certain expectations put on you just because you are a lady. And, um, and it's detrimental in a lot of ways because it limits you. And I think with this film, it's very much about, being unapologetically you, but also being whatever kind of woman you want to be. And if you're, a woman who's a little bit maybe loud or rambunctious or in your face, bold personality, then that's okay and it's encouraged. And so this is something that is a little bit deeper. I mean, it's not something that you're going to notice on the surface, but I think once you watch it and you know, peel back all the layers, you're going to see that. But that's kind of my review. I think that this film was really well done. It's super fun. I will also say that I think this movie is perfect for any age group. It doesn't tailor as much to the older adults, I'll say, because I feel like a lot of Pixar films kind of tailor themselves to the older adults with these really deep, heart wrenching topics and issues, like Up, when Carl loses his wife. You know what I mean? It's like those things that really I think are more so reaching out to the older adults in the audience. But this one I felt like was a little bit for everyone and maybe not so much catering towards the older individuals, like people, over 40, 50. I don't really think it was too much for them, but more so for people, probably ages of like 20 to 20, probably like 20 to 40. I think this was kind of made for us specifically with all of these, again, little like tributes to the boy band stuff. There's, she has like stickers all over her notebooks and stuff like that. Just it's just it brings you back. It kind of puts you in a time capsule and it brings you back. And I think that this was also a more lighthearted film for little kids as well. I think little kids are really going to get a kick out of it, obviously, because of the pandas. I mean, they're going to love that. But there's a lot of funny bits, funny characters, funny interactions. And I think that's going to do really well with the children. So if you have kids, I definitely highly recommend turning it on for them. Um, but that's kind of it. I'm going to open up the chat and see if there's anybody here who kind of wants to share, their review. It was a great movie. Enjoyed coming to the watch party. I'm just watching it now. I hope y'all had a fun watch party last night. We did. It was good. It was a great movie. I'm really enjoying it so far. Wait, the party was in the morning. Well, all I do now is some sleep, like really badly. Yes, we had a watch party at 12 a.m. Well, at least 12 a.m. my time. So yeah. But if you guys have anything you want to share before I leave about the movie, obviously trying to keep it, spoiler free. Don't say anything that's going to like give anything away. Try to keep it as general as possible if you can. Was it sad in the end or no? No, I don't think so. I can see where some people might get a little teary-eyed. There are some things that maybe will hit really close to home for some people, and for other people, it won't. Um, But no, I mean, I didn't cry, and usually I cry at everything, but I didn't find anything particularly sad about it. I liked all the bright colors and the soundtrack. Yeah, I loved it. Felt like the best way that I could describe it was like cool, like earthy tones with the colors that they used, but they popped, which sounds kind of weird because when I think you think of colors popping, you think of, bright highlighter colors. But no, this was just a very visually stunning film. I mean, I feel like I say that about all of Pixar films, but this one was just beautiful. Just a great job. And the soundtrack, that was the only thing that I felt fell a little short. I felt as though there could have been more songs that were more catchy, a little bit new. Like they used a song in there from Destiny's Child, which I love Destiny's Child, but I felt like maybe they could have made their own song, with like by using Four Town, making a song for them, another bop that they can play in the movie. And I just felt like, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of that. And I was looking forward to it because, again, I grew up in an era of boy bands, and NSYNC was one of my favorites. So I think it fell a little short in that. When Lightyear comes out, what movie would you say would be better? I don't know. I have to see Lightyear first. I'm not sure. Turning Red was awesome. Like seriously, next to Luca, a great movie. Yeah, you know what? So I said this. I didn't really care for Luca. I thought it was cute. I thought again visually stunning. A feel good movie, but I didn't think it was like super great standout. And honestly, I think Turning Red isn't like the most standout movie that Pixar's ever done, but it was still a cute movie. It is still something that everyone can enjoy. And it's a very much a feel good movie. And I think feel good movies are very, very important. So that's what I'll say about that. But I'm going to go ahead and log off now. I'm going to probably watch it again. I feel like the more you watch something too, you start to pick up on different things, and you might even get a new interpretation each time, or you might change your minds on how you actually feel about it. So I'm going to go ahead and log off. But thank you all for tuning in and watching this live review. I will hopefully see you soon, very, very soon in our next watch party. Have a nice day. And yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next one.